Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with Ubitennis.com. With our guest is Brandon Nakashima from San Diego, I think, California, and also Steve Flink, who could be your grandfather, but is only a friend of mine. So don't worry about it. We are not. Steve Flink, everyone knows he's an Hall of Famer, and Brandon Nakashima could become an Hall of Famer if he will keep progressing as it seems, because he's an outstanding young prospect. This year, even if right now you are number 218 in the world, I mean, there are not many 18 years old in front of you. I think maybe Sinner is the Italian Sinner, but not many others. Correct?
Yeah, correct, I think.
Well, I saw that you recently beat Query, which is a great win, and then you had beaten also Girano is number 104, Caruso was number 100, Sugita number 87, Nori number 60, Vesely number 74. So a lot of players ahead of you in the rankings, which means you are progressing, and so you can be confident.
For sure, yeah.
For sure. I read you are a bit shy, but you don't have to be shy with us. Feel free to express yourself. The other day with Steve Flink, we were interviewing Stan Smith, and he said that a young kid called John McEnroe was very shy. You may not believe it, because on court he was everything but shy, but outside of court he was very shy. So it's a good precedent.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell us something about you. First of all, I saw that both your parents are pharmacists. Is that correct?
Yes, they're both pharmacists.
So
my mom
were they very worried about the COVID-19? Because, I mean, being pharmacists, they probably know more than others.
For sure. I mean, they're definitely a lot busier during these times. My mom works in the Sharp Health Clinic, and my dad's in one of the Scripps hospitals close by my house. So they for sure have been a little more cautious about our whole family, and kind of distancing ourselves from most people. But yeah, I know all these times are difficult for everybody. So of course, all the people in the front line, the hospital workers, I really appreciate all their help to try and kind of let this virus kind of go away, and hopefully we'll get back to normal soon.
Have you been cautious, you too, or not?
Sorry?
Have you been cautious, you too? Are you wearing masks or doing precautions of any kind?
Whenever I'm outside, yeah, I'm trying to wear a mask in public areas. I've been able to train a little bit at some local private courts, so that's been nice, just to keep training hard and getting competitive matches in. So yeah, I've been trying to stay cautious as much as possible too in public areas, and of course trying to distance myself from a lot of people.
Brandon, your parents, just before we get off the subject of your parents, it's an interesting background. Your dad, I guess, with Japanese ancestry, and your mother lived till 5 in Vietnam. Is that correct? Because that's an interesting background for you, and I wondered how that's shaped your upbringing, their heritage.
Yeah, I mean, I was born and raised here in San Diego, and so was my dad in California. So, I mean, I think his parents don't really speak Japanese that much, and so doesn't he. So, I mean, I think it's a little interesting for me, but yeah, I'm happy with who I am, and yeah, just grateful for everything.
But I read that the first person who played tennis with you was your grandfather. Is that correct? I mean, and where is he from?
He's from Vietnam. Yeah, it's my mom's dad, and he first started to get me out on the court when I was about 3.5 years old, just feeding me balls at like a local park. And then yeah, ever since then I started practicing more and more every day, and yeah, just kept building from there.
I- Is it a fan of yours? Is he coming to watch you, the grandfather, and also the rest of the family? Are they all coming, or they have to lock down the pharmacy, or what?
Uh, for sure. My grandfather is my whole family actually is really supportive on all my tennis. So they definitely been keeping up with my matches and results, and whenever there's live streaming online or something, they're eager to watch. So it's really nice to have all their support, and yeah, especially both of my parents sacrificing so much for me and my tennis game.
Brandon, when I last spoke with you was after Delray Beach, when you'd had the great run of the quarters. Ubaldo referring to beating Besley, and you beat Nori and almost beat
Hmm.
Nishio in the quarters. So that was a great run, and that's also when you started with Pat Cash. And Ubaldo and I
Right.
spoke with Pat recently for one of these discussions, and I'm just wondering, it was just starting then. Can you talk about how it's evolved since during the pandemic, and how maybe the bond is growing between you and Pat, and how the relationship is developing?
Hmm. For sure. I mean, in Delray Beach was actually the first time I've ever met Pat, and we just actually met the first day of the tournament. I had to play my first match, so we didn't really know too much about each other. So at that point, but ever since then, we've had some good training blocks out here in California, and especially during this pandemic and stuff, he's able to come over here and help me train a little bit. So really happy that we're able to create that good bond together right now, and grow even closer. So whenever the tour starts back up again, we're able to be really connected and be able to travel together.
He said that one of the things he said to me was he thought you had extraordinary racket control, and that he noticed that from the beginning when he first started watching it on YouTube. Is that something, do you agree with him? Is that something that was just a natural for you? I thought it was an interesting comment.
Hmm. I think yeah, ever since I was a little kid, I think I've always been talented with my hands, and uh, especially in all different sports too. I mean, I think tennis for me, I was probably most talented at a young age, and then ever since then, after I was practicing a lot and stuff, it kept getting better and better. And I think definitely my racket control, like you said, and my hands are one of my best assets on the tennis court.
Yeah.
Since you said that you practically didn't know Pat Cash before you met him, so who put you together? I mean, how this combination came out? Who was your
Hmm.
agent? Who was?
Yeah, so it was just we knew we had a couple mutual friends, and at the time I just turned pro, and I was looking for a good coach at the time, and then a couple friends recommended to reach out to him and talk to him and just get to know him at first. And we talked on the phone a couple of times, and just got to know each other. And eventually, our agents started started talking, and at Delray Beach, it was kind of more of a like a just a trial period, just trying each other out, getting a feel for each other. And then after that tournament, after a couple of weeks later, we agreed to set a number of weeks together on the tour.
So for sure, I brought you luck because I mean to start and immediately do those results. I mean, I don't know what he could suggest you the first time he saw you, but I mean for sure he did pretty well. I mean, I have no idea what was the first suggestion that he made to you once he saw you. I mean, be calm.
Oh
I don't
man.
know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember that much. I mean, I know he didn't really try to tell me that much since we just met each other at the time. But I also had another young coach with me during the time that I was training with a lot. So yeah, they just kind of talked with each other at the time and just kind of got a feel for each other. And yeah, that tournament, I definitely had a lot of confidence in my game, and especially with Pat there, and also my other coach there. It was a really good time.
But you know what I thought was interesting was you went from Delray and then you did very well in the next event in California. You got to the semis and lost a close match to Jack Sock. Was that reassuring to you that you could put together two good ones in a row like that and have such fine showings in both?
Definitely. I mean, yeah, it's always tough at any given time to back up good wins, and especially the next week another tournament at a different place. It's always tough to transition and try to put two good weeks together. But luckily, we had a week off with Pat and this other coach of mine, so we were able to get back to California, back home, and just kind of train a little bit the week after Delray Beach before Indian Wells, and that definitely helped me gain a lot of confidence in my game and keep progressing in the matches.
Who were your idols in tennis? I mean, maybe Federer, or I don't know, but maybe also some older one or not?
Growing up, I mean, I always idolized Federer and always liked to watch him play. But I think now, I think my game is a little bit more suited, more similar to a Djokovic. I think so. Of course, I like to watch all the top players, but I think now my game is probably most similar to Djokovic out of the top three.
Have you met Djokovic?
No, I haven't. No.
And Federer and the others. So which one is the biggest player, the top player you've, or the best player you've met?
Well, a couple
Apart
years
from
ago when I was well, a couple of years ago, I was at Wimbledon and I was playing the juniors there, and I got to hit with Nadal, actually warm him up before one of his matches. So that was a really cool experience.
And how did I would assume, based on Rafa's reputation, what we know of him, that he was very kind to you. I mean, what was the interaction like with him that day?
I mean, not too much actually. I mean, it was a pretty quick warm up, and he was obviously focused on the match later in the day. I think it was before his quarterfinal match or something. So of course he was very nice and really respectful and everything. So it was a really good experience for me. But I probably didn't talk to him or interact with him as much as I would have liked to or something.
And how did it feel dealing with the severity of that topspin of his, hitting with him?
It was definitely interesting. I mean, yeah, before that, I never really hit with anybody with that hits that heavy or that much spin on both sides. So it was definitely a good experience for me and eye-opening, especially for these top players, how well they hit the ball and stuff.
Listen, if you have to mention some juniors that you may have played against in the recent years, last year or so, which are, in your opinion, the best prospect? I don't know if you have ever played the Italian Musetti or
Yes.
who won the Australian Open last year. He was runner-up in the US Open the year before. I don't know if you played him or not, and which one do you really consider good prospects?
I mean, last year, or actually a couple years ago, I played in the ITF Junior Finals in China, and it was the top 8 players at the time. So all of those players, Musetti, like you said, I played against him. Sang from Taipei, I played against him too. All those players, I think, are have really bright futures, and
Well, but just tell us
definitely.
some names so that we point it out. We take notes. Tell me, you were impressed by anyone? You know, at my time, I could remember who was a junior that I thought, oh, this one will become very good. And, you know, Steve Flink was able to immediately disguise that Pete Sampras was becoming a champion, for instance. And he's going to write
The
a book about it. I mean, you'll see it. So go ahead.
oh, probably like Jason Sang from Taipei, who was #1 at the time. I think has a really bright future, really talented. Musetti, like you said, really talented with the hands. I think can do really well in the future. Who else? Hugo Gaston from France was there, lefty, also really talented and a good mover. Who else?
In America, are you by far the best?
I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a lot of other good Americans like Sebastian Corda is a
Peter
little older than
Corder.
me, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's a little bit older than me, but we still see each other a lot at the challengers and stuff. So I definitely think he has a good game. What else?
So you are the top American junior, correct? If I am not wrong.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But
So
of course, you don't think of yourself so much as a junior anymore now. And I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about the college tennis experience. 1 year, University of Virginia, freshman, ACC Freshman of the Year. You got a lot out of that, and then you decided to turn pro. How crucial was that in your development to play so young, a year of college tennis? And here, that was in 2019. Now you're 18 years old now, having already put that behind you.
Hmm. For sure, it was definitely really crucial for my development, both on and off the court, as a tennis player and just as a person. I mean, going to college a semester early when I was 17 and playing a full season definitely helped my game and helped me mature as a person. So I think I would probably advise most players to go to college and get that experience and just see how it goes and if you're ready or not to turn professional at the time. But for me, I think after that one semester and after taking the fall off and playing all those challengers and getting some good results, I definitely think my game was ready for the pros, and I was mature enough to handle the tour and everything. So I eventually made the decision to turn pro.
So you were clear in your mind, though, as the season was coming to an end, you were confident that you were ready to go pro. You didn't have to wrestle too much with the decision, or did you?
It was a tough decision at the time. After the season, I was still playing the junior slams during the summer, and then during the fall, I decided to take the fall off from school and to take some online classes. So I was able to travel and play some professional events, and after those professional events in the fall is when I made the decision to turn pro.
can you recall us what you did in the junior slams? I mean, where did you play and how many? I mean, did you play the 4 of them last year?
Not all of them. I never been to Australia yet, but I played the other 3 the last 2 years. So it was really exciting at the time to be at all those slams for the first time, and yeah, it's all really good experiences for me.
So you did well. I mean, what were the results? What was the best result in
Uh,
those slams?
the the first year at the French Open, I made the quarters, and that same year I made the quarters of the U.S. Open too, and then this past year at the U.S. Open, I made the semis.
Okay.
Those are good, solid results.
Yeah, pretty good results, I would say.
Yeah.
Look, I saw quite a bit of your match, the one you lost to Tiafo, because there was a chance to watch it on streaming, and I saw that actually it's true that you play a little bit like Djokovic. You weren't going very much to the net, and I spoke, or when you were going, you didn't do too well. When I spoke with Pat Cash, I told him, I said, look, Pat, but you were one of the best volleyers of all time, especially his forehand volley was unbelievable, and you know, very good after the serve to come to the net and play well. So I said, and then he said, oh, Brandon played Tiafo before I came, so
Yeah.
now I'm pushing him more to play more at the net. Is that correct? And how are you changing this a bit your game? If you are doing, it's an evolution of your game, I guess.
Mhm. Well, yeah, like you said, during when I played TFO at the time, I didn't know Pat really, so and we weren't really talking that much together. But ever since we started talking, and he's got to watch my game live in Delray Beach and stuff, and especially during these training blocks out here in California, we've definitely tried to work on the transition game and the net game as much as possible. Just adding some more variety into my game, and of course, he was one of the best at the serve and volley and the net game. So just trying to just learn from him and his expertise as much as possible, just to add more variety to my game.
Because
How well do you know these other Americans, like Tiafo or maybe Noah Rubin or Tommy Paul? There's a lot of young Americans that seem very close. They're slightly older than you. Have they reached out to you in any way?
Not too much yet, I would say. I definitely gotten closer with most of them, just from seeing all of them at most challengers most of the weeks, and practicing with them and stuff. So I definitely gotten familiar with all the challenger guys, and especially those Americans I've been able to practice with a lot. So I definitely feel comfortable with all of them.
what is your plan right now? I mean, nobody knows exactly about Washington, and then maybe Cincinnati, and then US Open. You may have a chance to get in also, because apparently there are some Europeans who don't even want to go to United States. I mean, I just heard today in the women side that Simona Alep decided she will not go to United States. She will stay
really?
in Europe till the end of the year. So what is your situation? What are the plans you are making? And do you feel that you have a good ranking, maybe enough to get in some tournaments, or you have to play qualifying? What do you do?
Yeah, I think during this time, it's tough to plan a tournament when we're not sure like when it's gonna happen and stuff. But ever since this the tour stopped, we've been trying to plan as if the U.S. Open was gonna play. So all this time we've been training hard, and I've been working on my fitness to play the U.S. Open. So it's just a matter of if the tournament's going to happen or not. But I don't think my ranking is high enough to get into the main draw yet. So and I'm not sure if they're going to have qualifying or not. So I think probably my only option is to ask for wild cards if they even have any. I think.
Would you feel safe? Were you concerned about you know, all the precautions they're planning on taking? How do you feel about that part of it, and beyond whether you could get in or not? Or would you be comfortable?
I think I would definitely be comfortable over there, especially if they're taking all the precautions and everything, and especially if they've been planning the tournament and everything a couple months in advance. I think I know everything won't be perfect, especially in organizing and everything, but I think it definitely would be good to get a real tournament back, and just to get competing again.
And how about playing in front of no fans? How strange would that be?
I think it definitely will be a little interesting at the beginning. I think everybody's so used to playing with people watching and everything. So I think most players will find it maybe a little bit weird at the beginning, but I don't think it's that big of an issue for me. I think I just try to focus on my game no matter who's watching, and I think I could definitely do well with or without fans.
Listen, to look at you, you seem very calm, wise, mature. I'd like to know how much you get fun outside of the tennis court. I mean, what do you like to do? Do you like music? You like concerts? You go to a discotheque? Last Sunday, Novak Djokovic, Zverev, they were in Belgrade. They were dancing like crazy in a small discotheque, like if COVID didn't exist. So I would like to know what is your opinion about it, and do you have fun? How?
Yeah, outside the tennis court, I definitely try to relax and have fun as much as possible. I definitely like to play other sports, and especially on my days off, I like to play golf with my friends, and just relax at home, watch some TV shows, and just kind of sometimes get the mind away from tennis.
Yeah, but do you go? You like dancing? You like I don't know. You have a girlfriend? I mean, tell us something personal. Come on.
I mean, I never really like to go dancing or like to go to the clubs and stuff, especially in college. It was never really my type of feeling going out, and but I definitely like to hang out with friends in a more relaxed, chill state, and yeah, just try to enjoy my time off the court.
I see that you have a lot of books on your side. I mean, I would like to know which sort of books do you read, if those are books that you have actually read. Which one is your favorite author, writer? I don't know. What is the last book that you read?
Honestly, I'm not too much too much of a big reader. I only pretty much read when I have to, but during this time, since I kind of had a lot of free time on my hands, I try to educate myself and try to read some autobiographies or like motivational books or something to just help my mind, and just try to improve my understanding of tennis and life and everything. So I think for me, I don't like to read as much as most people, but during this time, I've been trying to read as much as possible.
Well, for instance, do you know, for instance, Roger Federer is very fond of tennis history. He was even, you know, when before his time, there was a long period of time when Australian tennis was winning almost everything, and the United States and Australia were the top nations in the Davis Cup and things like that. So, do you know something about the past of the tennis, or you're not? You don't really care? I mean, do you know who won certain slams? I don't know. You probably heard of Pete Sampras, but you were too young to see him playing because you weren't born. So, what do you know about the sports in general? And for instance, the Davis Cup. Did you hear what the Davis Cup was, and what is your feeling about it?
To be honest, I probably don't know too much about tennis history as much as maybe other players and stuff. I definitely like to watch the older players and just see what it was like back like a couple decades ago, how they played and stuff. But as far as
And what strikes you about that when you do watch that? What do you notice the differences, the guys from back then?
definitely just their game style and just how it's kind of really different from how many players play right now. I mean, back then it was all serve volley and coming to the net as much as possible, but it's interesting to see how the game has evolved, and just to see how players has changed, and sometimes how tournaments have changed too, and how they've improved, and just the evolution of the game, I think is kind of interesting.
And if you watch, well, if you think about yourself at the end of the year, or maybe 1 year or 2 years, how much time do you give to yourself to make a big uh, jump forward in the rankings?
I think yeah, it's tough to say after all this and after all this time off away from tournaments, but I think after a year or something, I think I could do something big and jump high in the rankings, and try to improve my ranking as much as possible, get some good results, and just keep improving my game is the goal.
You think maybe by 2022, 2023, and there you would possibly be in the top 10 in the world?
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, just to keep improving and to see how I could put together, jump the ranking as quickly as possible too. So I think it's just a matter of developing my game and improving my game, and just to keep getting some good experiences on the court.
Listen, in 2-3 years, maybe Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic, they could be, I don't know, retired. Who knows? Maybe yes, maybe not.
Maybe.
That should help other people, other players to get in the top 10. If you have to pick other players, or just one player that you think has more chances to become #1 in the world out of those that right now are behind the top 3, who do you see, in your opinion, to have more chances than the others?
I think out of the top 10 players right now, I think probably I would say Medvedev and Tsitsipas has a good chance of winning some Grand Slams after the big three. But I think for younger next generation players like myself, I definitely think Shapovalov has a good game to do well at the slams. Felix Auger-Aliassime has a good chance of doing well also. So I think there's definitely a lot of good young talent out there, and after the top 3 retire or something, I think there definitely would be a good amount of players that have a good better shot at winning some slams.
Do you see any American apart from you?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I don't know if any of the older Americans that are playing right now have a good shot at winning some slams, but you never know. I mean, I think yeah, most of the Americans are really talented and stuff, but I'm not sure if they're able to do well at the slams as they would like to.
One question about Pat Cash. Are you going to see him when? When did you decide? When are you planning to meet again? I mean, and where?
He's actually been here training with me the last couple of weeks. I think last 3 weeks he was here. So that's been great having him here, and I think he'll be going back home at the end of this next week. So definitely a really exciting time for both of us, especially since the U.S. Open is they're trying to play it in the future, and yeah, we'll see when they make the announcement and when we're able to plan some stuff.
Apparently, your best shot is the backhand. I don't know if that is true. I think so, from what I saw versus Tiafoe. But where do you need more, in your opinion, to improve? And just tell us the advice that Pat Cash is giving you more frequently. What he says to you more times than other.
Well, for me, I think I definitely have to improve my fitness and footwork on the court as much as possible, especially if I'm going to play these slams and it's 3 out of 5 sets every match. I think I definitely have to improve a lot on my fitness and stuff. But on the court, I think my serve can always improve. Just my court sense, and also just my forehand in general, I think can improve a lot too. And especially some of the things that Pat Cash has told me before, and has told me pretty frequently last couple of weeks, is just to add more variety to my game and just give my opponent different looks. I think it's definitely going to help me win a lot of matches and just keep all the opponents on their feet more and not be too predictable on my side. So I think adding the transition net game is only gonna help me, and also just adding some more variety at the baseline, and just to keep improving all my strokes.
Steve.
Yeah, Ubaldo, I think we've kind of covered the waterfront, as they say. I think Brandon's been very patient. I think we wish you all the best for the coming year and beyond, but we appreciate your taking this so much time to talk to us in depth about your aspirations, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Well, you know, patience is typical of a certain, you know, background qualities, you know, because I mean, you remind me the way you talk, and also that you seem to be patient. I don't know if instead inside you have a fire burning you, because maybe you would like to be tomorrow top 10, and you. So I don't know how you really are, because one thing is to talk with us, which are. We are unknown grandparents we could be for you, and another thing is with the young kids, if you would be, you know, more enthusiastic in describing what you do.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely can improve a lot on the media side and interviews and stuff, talking to people. But I think it's only going to come with experience and maturity, and definitely to keep improving.
Yeah. Okay. We will come to look after you after a great success. So you will try to remember our faces. I mean, especially, okay. You know, Steve, you cannot forget once you see him. is there,
Yeah.
you know, and
Mhm.
and so we will ask you to if you remember this interview, and especially
I will.
when you will become a top 10, and if we will still be around as we hope, we will ask you one-on-one, and then you will say, oh, too many medias asking me, I don't have time, I'm busy. But you know, we have put you know, how do you say in English, Steve? We want a sort of insurance, you know, a guarantee that
Yeah, all
you will
right.
not
You said it
forget,
well.
because you know, when people are not yet so famous, they are always available. When they start winning, sometimes they disappear, they forget.
Yeah.
So we don't
Hmm.
want you to forget. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
I won't. I won't. I promise. Hmm.
Okay, promise. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then
Hmm.
listen, thanks a lot for the time you gave us. Thanks
No
to
worries.
Steve Flink, of course. We
Yeah,
wish you,
again, Brandon, it was terrific.
yeah, and we
Thank you.
wish you
Yeah.
the best of luck for your tennis career.
All
Ciao.
right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right.
Bye now.
Take care.